It doesn't look dangerous. In fact, it almost looks like something you were meant to touch. A bright green body, striking red and white markings, and rows of strange little spines covering its back. But if you ever find one of these caterpillars resting on a leaf, keep your hands away, because one innocent touch can turn this beautiful creature into a very painful memory. This is the Io Moth Caterpillar, Automeris Io, and at this stage of its life, it has earned a rather fitting identity, the Living Pincushion. The closer you look, the more that name starts to make sense. Its body is surrounded by fleshy projections carrying rows of sharp, black-tipped spines. They're not there to make the caterpillar look frightening. They're there because this small creature has a problem. It's soft, it can't fly, and it isn't chasing anything. It's simply trying to grow. And you don't have to travel to some remote jungle to find one. The Io moth occurs from southern Canada through much of the eastern United States and into eastern Mexico. Its caterpillars feed on a wide variety of plants: maples, willows, elms, hibiscus, wisteria, and many others, which means their world can be surprisingly familiar. Forests, woodland edges, fields, gardens, even vegetation around human homes. And somewhere among those leaves, a living pincushion can be quietly feeding, waiting for the next thing that gets too close. Look at those spines again. They don't move toward you. They don't chase you. They don't need to. The defense is already built into the caterpillar's body. Every one of those strange projections is part of a system designed to make grabbing this caterpillar a mistake. And that matters because, in the wild, a predator doesn't need much encouragement to investigate a soft-bodied meal. One bite could be enough, unless the meal bites back. Except, this one doesn't bite. Imagine brushing against it without even realizing what you've touched. The spines can penetrate the skin, and when they do, some of their tips can break away and remain embedded. The reaction can begin almost immediately: a sudden, painful sting, a burning sensation, then itching, redness, and a raised welt can appear around the area. For many people, the pain begins to fade within a couple of hours, while the localized reaction usually settles within several more hours. The experience is usually localized, although allergic reactions can occur. A sharp spine alone could hurt, but these aren't ordinary spines. When they penetrate the skin, the tips can break off and release venom. That means the caterpillar has combined two defenses into one: a physical weapon and a chemical one. And the smaller the weapon becomes, the easier it is to underestimate. You may not even notice those tiny fragments in your skin, but your body does. And here's where this little caterpillar becomes even more interesting. We know the venom is responsible for part of its defensive effect. We know the spines deliver it. We know what happens when those spines penetrate human skin. But ask a deceptively simple question. What exactly is the toxin? The venom of the Io moth caterpillar has not been fully characterized. Scientists know the weapon works, they know the effect, but the complete chemical recipe behind that pain remains unknown. For the Io moth caterpillar, this isn't about attacking anything. It's about surviving long enough to disappear into a cocoon. A bird sees a meal. A wasp sees an opportunity. But the moment something grabs the caterpillar, those harmless-looking spines change the encounter. The caterpillar doesn't have to overpower its attacker. It only has to make the attacker let go. Even its contrasting red and white stripes may serve as a warning, a visual signal that says there is something here worth avoiding. And suddenly, that beautiful green caterpillar looks very different. Those spines aren't decoration. They're not just something that makes it look strange. They're the reason you should keep your hands away. Touch them, and they can penetrate your skin. Their tips can break away. Venom can be released, and your body can respond with sudden pain, burning, itching, redness, and swelling. The caterpillar never had to attack you. You simply made contact with its defense. But perhaps the strangest part is what happens next. The living pincushion doesn't stay a caterpillar forever. Eventually, it disappears into a cocoon, and when it emerges, the spines are gone. In their place is something completely different. The adult Io moth carries enormous eye spots on its hindwings, hidden when the moth is resting, suddenly exposed when it's disturbed. A predator expecting an easy meal can suddenly find itself staring at what looks like a pair of enormous eyes. Different stage, Different defense, same objective: survive. And that's why this beautiful caterpillar deserves a little distance. Not because it wants to hurt you, not because it hunts humans, but because millions of years of survival have turned its body into something remarkably effective. A living pincushion. Beautiful to look at, painful to touch, and proof that in nature, the most dangerous warning isn't always the loudest one. Stay curious, stay wild,